Hello my kings, queens, and film non-binary leaders, and welcome back to The Sunshine Secret. Today we're gonna get started with the fifth and final part for this story, and oh my god, I can't believe that we're already here. I really hope Dreamer, who requested this, you enjoyed what I made of this series, and yeah, that also means we get obviously to the final reveal, and I'm really excited for it. Further, however, the writing bug bit me. And with this ship, I don't know why, I didn't really thought that I would like it, but I loved it. So there might be a sequel to it, and I might have already written like almost 5 parts of it. I really hope you enjoy this ship because it looks like it's coming back. But yeah, tell me in the comments if that's what you want, and now enjoy this final part. Let's go. At home, Hinata felt still loopy, and Atsumu promptly carried him to the couch. Kageyama let the bags fall down and watched him with his eyes full of concern. Sakusa was tired. He wanted answers, but he knew there were steps to be taken first. We all need to shower. I'll go first and prepare a bath for Hinata. Atsumu, you can take the second bathroom in the meantime, and Tobio, you stay with him until either of us comes back. No discussions until after. He shot down Atsumu's attempt immediately, who gave a dissatisfied huff, but complied. He was unsurprisingly finished first, and replaced Kageyama in watching over the Omega until the bath was ready. Then it was Kiyomi staying by his side while the others got snacks and pajamas. Will you tell us now what is wrong? You caught that, huh? Sakusa just raised an eyebrow before he motioned for him to turn around and began massaging shampoo into his hair. I think about every camera in that hall caught it. Hinata winced, and immediately Sakusa swiped over the side of his face apologetically before rinsing his hair and moving on to conditioner. The Omega sighed. I didn't lie though. It's nothing wrong, it's just... Can I tell you when the others are there as well? Of course. Sakusa kissed his temple after rinsing the conditioner out as well and let Hinata soak for a little longer. Now that the confusion and disorientation began to fade, he picked up on the fear in the warm scent. Hinata tried to hide it. He wasn't sure what was happening, but he would be damned if he let his maid deal with this alone. Hinata was unusually quiet as he slowly followed after Sakusa. Their fingers interlocked, and although he walked a bit behind the taller, he didn't miss the sharp glances the Alpha threw at him to make sure Hinata wasn't feeling faint again. He sat down on the couch, but squirmed a bit uncomfortably in his seat while the others were busy setting the table, gathering supplies, or in Kiyomi's case, cleaning the mess Atsumu left in his hectic attempt to throw a meal together. He didn't want to worry them even more. He felt horrible. He didn't keep his promises. He pushed it too far, dismissing the warning signs and putting the pup in jeopardy. Shoyo. Tobio rushed over and knelt down beside him. His eyes searched the Omegas, making him painfully aware that he had no sand patches to hide behind anymore. His hands were balled tightly into fists as he tried fighting his instincts. What is wrong? Are you hurt? From the kitchen he could hear clatter and then steps approaching, so he quickly shook his head, but the words got stuck in his throat. Nest, please, I need... Kageyama's eyes widened a fraction and he exchanged a glance with the other two hastily, panic reflected in the deep blue. Shoyo, look at me. Do you feel jittery? Clammy? Do the marks hurt? Sakusa had rushed to Kageyama's side and grasped his shoulder to gain his attention. Again, Hinata shook his head and gulped as he realized that they suspected him to drop. They didn't know he needed the nest because of the pup. It was only logical to assume a drop if he required it outside of heat. No, I'm not dropping. Are you sure? Shoyo, this is serious, a drop could... I'm sure. He put all the sincerity he could muster in his gaze, and words as Kiyomi's eyes searched his for a hint that he was wrong. Then he nodded briskly and instructed Kageyama to stay with him while he and Atsumi finished the food and got nesting materials. Kageyama pulled out the couch to build the nest on and promptly wrapped Hinata in his arms. The Omega whimpered and pressed himself closer to his alpha's side, hiding his face against his neck where the soothing scent of Sohamagiko blossoms accumulated. It was spiced with worry, but as the taller focused on calming the spiker, so did his scent, and Hinata relaxed. He covered his face gently to shield him from any overwhelming influences, the same way he needed when overwhelmed. At once, everything around them became muffled, and Hinata appreciated the short reprieve to gather his thoughts. The calming pheromones effectively prevented the spiral he had been about to descend, and as they flooded his senses, even the words spoken around them became close to illegible. His position was adjusted a few times, and when he finally risked a glance from the safe warmth of Kageyama's embrace, he was surrounded by a neatly arranged nest of pillows, blankets, and the occasional sweater. His eyes were glassy, but immediately the remaining tension fell off him. He carefully separated himself from Tobio and let his hand roam over the soft materials before snuggling up to one of the nest walls, already embedded with his mate's scent. He could feel his own lighten in content in response. Long, gentle, and slightly calloused fingers threaded themselves through his hair and scratched soothingly over his scalp. He blinked up, tired, and saw Atsumu leaning over the back of the couch, giving him a soft yet slightly wary smile. "Hey darling, how are you feeling?" Hinata gave a small smile back, but turned away again as it threatened to cause tears to follow. It was all too much. He just needed his mates and nest, and not to have to talk anymore. But he knew that wouldn't be fair. They were worried, deeply so, suspecting a drop even. 2 of his mates went feral over his injury, and he couldn't blame them. The Omega wasn't sure anyone would have been able to hold him back if one of them collapsed on the court, and he was just supposed to let others near them were this vulnerable. Logically, he of course knew that the paramedics were there to help, but instincts regarding a closest pack were hardest to shake. Nobody would blame either of the alphas. Getting feral over an argument with the referee, other players, or over a point lost, now that could get you banned, but over an injured mate, nobody would dare propose a punishment. If Atsumu and Tobio hadn't been confirmed in the public eye before, they were now. Hinata sighed and pulled the nearest pillow closer to his chest. Atsumu's honey-sweetened sandalwood scent clung to it. "Sho, can you please talk to us? What do you need?" He could hear how much it cost him to remain calm and vaguely picked up on an argument between the alphas about whether or not to call an ambulance. With a bit of effort, he fought himself into a sitting position. "My back, please." He had carried the pictures with him ever since he got them at the clinic, and now carefully pulled the envelope containing them from his gym bag Atsumu had readily provided. "I'm sorry. I haven't been entirely honest with you." Kageyama's expression pulled together in a frown, and he flinched as Hinata let the bag drop to the ground outside the improvised nest again. He motioned and waited for all of them to sit down inside it, while his fingers traced the edges of the envelope nervously. "About what?" Sakusa's voice sounded a little more hollow, more guarded as he watched him through slightly narrowed eyes, causing Atsumu to place his hand on the ravens in an attempt to reassure him. "The appointment. Why I visited Kemma. I suspected this, but I didn't want to rush until I had confirmation, and I didn't want you to be distracted from the game. I guess that part didn't work out." He tried for a chuckle, but it sounded all wrong. Sakusa had tensed further, his eyes were scanning him again from where he sat. "What do you mean, the appointment? Did they find something?" "They did. But it's nothing bad, I swear. Well, I guess that depends on what you think. Though, it does mean that I can't play the rest of the season." "What? Why? What's wrong?" Kageyama's sense spiked sharply and Atsumu's was short behind, though the blonde tried to grit his teeth and remain calm. Instead of providing a verbal answer, Hinata wordlessly produced 3 of the copies from the envelope and handed 1 to each.
That is...
He nodded slowly, lowering his head ashamed. Our pup? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I put them in jeopardy today. I wanted to play one more game with you before I had to leave. You won't leave forever though, right? You can come back after. Of course. Well, but something can always go wrong, right? So I wanted to make sure, and...
Shoyo, is this what you want? Is this a risk you're willing to take?
He froze. Tears had gathered in his eyes and were now falling onto the envelope where he knew the last picture, his picture, rested. He couldn't erase it from his mind. So many things felt like they were washing over him like a flood wave. But through all that shone the memory of holding Natsu for the first time. His tears turned into rivers, and he nodded while struggling to get the words up between the sobs, lodging themselves in his throat. I want them. I want them so much. They're my baby. I want them. Suddenly, there were arms around him. Honey, Suhamagiko, and patchouli mixed into an oddly well-balanced symphony. His hair grew damp where Atsumu placed a kiss to it, his cheek warm where Kageyama nuzzled against it, and his forehead tingled pleasantly as Sakusa kissed it gently and let his fingers roam over his face.
My love, please don't worry. We're here with you. I'm sorry that you felt like you couldn't tell us sooner.
He tried shaking his head, but Atsumu nodded in agreement with Sakusa and held him tighter. If you felt like you couldn't communicate this with us because we'd end up acting overbearing, we'll need to work on that. I promise, no more coddling unless requested and approved. He hiccuped, and Tobio too gave an affirmative hum to that. Even more tears fell, and a violent sob clawed itself from his throat that made his mate scramble in a helpless attempt to figure out what went wrong.
You're not mad at me?
What? No!
No, I'm not mad. Though you are a dumbass.
He let out a wet laugh when Kiyomi captured his face again, interrupting his attempt to wipe his tears away, and did so himself, more gentle than thought possible, before slowly tilting his chin up a bit to meet his gaze.
We're not mad. You already went to a clinic and took precautions. That's what the talk with Coach was about, right?
He nodded, helplessly enraptured by the alpha's dark eyes that held him in place effortlessly.
Good. If you allow, let us take it from here. Tsumu can work with your doctor, the team's nutritionist, and his brother to make a meal plan. Tobio can help you organize plushies and blankets for the maternity nest. And I will take over organizing appointments and medical concerns.
That's not fair. I can't make you do everything for me. Everything? Honey, you are growing a baby. I think nothing we can do to support you in the meanwhile can amount to that. Hinata flushed bright red and promptly hit against Sakusa's chest, who was still closest to him. The tall alpha chuckled and gently patted over his back.
Is that all okay with you?
He nodded against his chest, still flustered.
Good. Let's take it slow for today and discuss the rest later. How long until dinner?
20 more minutes.
Do we still have some milk packs?
Kageyama sounded audibly exhausted as he went searching for them. Going feral took a lot out of you, and Hinata wouldn't be surprised if both fell asleep during whatever they'd decide to watch. He snuggled up to Kiyomi and let his eyes fall shut for a moment. He had the best mates and wouldn't exchange them for the world. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Oh my god. Yes, so that concludes this series. Tell me please what you thought in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss out more on this. Yes, as mentioned, I kind of started already writing a second sequel series to this, so let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. If this ship is well enough received, I will definitely continue doing it. And yeah, a special thanks as always goes out to Mindy Nichols. Oh, and by the way, just for everyone who's worried, it will not replace SakuAtsuKageHina as like a main ship, because that would also mean getting rid of SakuAtsuKageHina, and like, no. I love SakuAtsuKageHina still a little bit more. But yeah, we might make at least this Omegaverse gets maybe explored a little bit further if you request. So tell me what your favorite quote and part was under the pinned comment. And as you all know, this was a request, and as you can see, even rare ships get sometimes made into rare videos, so feel free to leave your request in the request form. Here's more content, check that out, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye everyone!